Hello there, music lovers. Welcome to the channel. Thanks so much for dropping by. One thing that I'm not very good at anymore is making short videos. I used to be so good at them. I used to make these great 5-minute videos or less or whatever. And ever since I sat my ass down inside, nice cushy office, boom, 20-minute videos. Can't stop them. No one has complained about it, but I would like to make some shorter videos. So I figured maybe I get outside, smell some fresh air. Maybe I can get in and out of here in 5. Let's see. Anyway, thought I'd run this by you. What do you think about the prospect of Phil Collins getting back with Genesis and doing a tour as a trio, except he wants to have his son Nick play drums? That's his condition. He wants his son Nick, who's currently playing drums with him on his solo tour, to play drums with Genesis. Now, of course, he's got to run this by Mike and Tony in Genesis to see if that's something that he wants to do. But, Nick actually has been doing a great job with his father. He's been doing a good job doing the drums for Phil during his solo shows. He's even up for the challenge of working in Genesis. It's just a question of, should Genesis go down that road? On the last tour that Genesis did, I think it was 2007 for the Turn It On Again tour, I noticed, as much as I wanted to see Genesis get back and was kind of shocked that they did, it was a little bit concerning because they just weren't quite the same. Something was off. Of course, you get a look at the documentary that they did and you can see some insights into what was going on. Phil Collins, first of all, was not very happy with that tour. He wanted to go home. He was homesick. He wasn't happy with himself. He wasn't able to hit the high notes the way he used to. They had to drop songs out of the set, or they had to drop the key. I think they dropped the key on most every single song. And plus, I also noticed that he wasn't quite the ham. Phil Collins, you go back and look at footage of him in the 70s and in the 80s and even in the early 90s on the We Can't Dance tour. And Phil Collins was out there hamming it up with the audience, engaging them, telling jokes, and he was just he was an entertainer. Didn't have that on the last tour. He was just standing up there and kind of getting through it with the most minimal, performance that he could do, it seemed. So I really wasn't all that impressed with the last Genesis tour, really. And so here we are now, 10 plus years later, looking at them going back out again. And what's changed? Well, Phil Collins can't even play drums now. He did play drums on that last tour in 2007. He wasn't all that sharp because Phil Collins, as great a drummer as he is, when he left Genesis, he didn't keep it up. He's not one of these drummers that just keeps on practicing and pushing himself, and it seemed like he just kind of let it go. And so when he picked it up again for the Genesis tour, he wasn't all that sharp. He wasn't in good shape. He messed his back up. He had to have surgery, and that's why he can't pick up drumsticks very well. And he's also had other issues with his back. He's had surgery. He's actually got paralysis in one of his feet, so that's why he can't stand up. So that's not going to be changing. I did a whole video about this. I'll put a link up to it where I talked about, is it really worth going to see Phil if he can't stand up and engage the audience, and especially now he can't play drums. So, my question to you is, what do you think? Would you go see Genesis if it was Phil Collins just sitting there with no real engagement, can't hit the high notes, having to drop keys, can't play drums? I'm sure his son will do a really good job, but it's just so much less than what we're used to when it comes to Genesis. Do we need to see them go down that road? Of course, it would be great to get, Steve Hackett involved or Peter Gabriel in some way. That would make things interesting. But that's not going to happen. Come on, really. Steve Hackett would only get involved, really, if Gabriel did, or if they went back and they revisited that Genesis period that he was in after Gabriel left with, Trick of the Tail and Wind and Wuthering. That's just not going to happen. With Phil Collins in his solo shows, he's got background singers. He's got people that can engage him and walk around him, and they engage the audience. You're not going to have any of that in Genesis. Phil Collins's solo songs are shorter. He sings through most of them. In Genesis, the songs can be longer, instrumental passages that go on for many, many minutes. And what's Phil going to do? There's no background singers to help him out or to, engage the audience in any way. So I don't know. Lots of questions. In my opinion, I think we leave Genesis alone. It was great. We have some really great memories. There's lots of great video. I don't think we need to resurrect Genesis. I really don't. But I want to know what you think about it. Put your comments down below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Hit the subscribe button too, all right? And I'll be back soon with another video.